Hello, my name is Ashish, and in this video we will see how to configure CI/CD pipelines as code with YAML in Azure DevOps. So let me just quickly log on to the portal and take it from there. All right, I am on to the portal. This is my project, and here you would see the files in this project under the master branch under the repo. I will So what happens is, like, many teams prefer to define their build and release pipelines using YAML. YAML is a short form for yet another markup language. This allows them to access the same pipeline features as those using the Visual Designer, but with a markup file that can be managed like any other source file. The YAML build definitions can be added to a project by simply adding their source file to the root of the repo. Like so, if I open up this repo here, you would see some part of this under the YAML format. So source, if I go to the source, I will show you the YAML part here as well. So Azure DevOps also provides default templates for popular project types as well as a YAML designer to simplify the process of defining build and release tasks. So to start with, I'm going to first create the Azure resources. I'm logging on to the Azure portal here. And I'm going to create a web app plus SQL resource. So if I click create a resource here, I'm going to type in web SQL. Web SQL here. Let's see what we get in the marketplace search. Web app plus SQL. I'm looking for this. Right. So it's a Microsoft provided marketplace extension. I'm going to click on it. Create and deploy websites in seconds as powerful as you need them. Leverage your existing tools to create and deploy applications without the hassle of managing the applications. I'm going to click on create. Okay, it says enter the name of your application. I'm following the Microsoft documentation here to do this lab. I'm going to keep the name. It's not available. Okay, so I'm going to. All right. Subscription is pay as you go. Create new YAML app service plan is this. And when it comes to SQL database settings, I'm going to click on here and I'm going to create few settings here, like the database. I'm going to create a new database and the database name would be part. I'm going to keep it same as the name of my DevOps project. So, and if you would go for the target server on which this database reside, I'm going to do this. Okay, server admin login. Okay. All right. Location, allow resources. I'm going to click on OK. Perfect. Pricing tier is this. I'm going to go with the default here. Okay. Application insights does not. I'm going to click on create. I'm going to pause and come back when it is done. Okay, till the time it is doing this, what I'll do, I will go to my DevOps project here and I'll configure the parts unlimited project. So I'm going to go to my project and I'm going to go to my pipelines here. Okay. I'm going to select this pipeline. So there are no runs yet here. And I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna click on pause the pipeline as of now. Alright, so what I'll do is I will add a YAML build definition. So I'm gonna click on pipelines again. I'm gonna click on new pipeline. So for the location of the code, I'm gonna go with Azure Repo Kit. And then I'm gonna select this repo. Alright, select the ASP.NET template as the starting point. So I'm gonna go with this. No. I'm sorry. Go back. Go with this. I selected .NET Framework. I'm going to go with the first one here. Okay. So now review the content of your YAML definition. So if you would come under pool, it says VM image Windows latest. So it will be saved as a new file. It will be configured as Azure pipelines.yaml file in the root of the repository and contain everything needed to build and test a typical ASP.NET solution. So what this YAML file is doing, it has all the content to run as a build server so that this code, the project can be built and tested for the typical ASP.NET. So we can customize the build as needed. In this case, what we'll do is we'll update the pool to specify the build should use Visual Studio 27 build VM. Like it's mentioned as to use the Windows latest. Be sure to keep it at the same two places. Indentation. So it says no Windows latest. And so this. I'm going to change it. So let me pause and change it. So I've changed these things. The pool name should be hosted Visual Studio 2017 and demand would be to run MS Build, Visual Studio and VS Test. So these are the changes. Make sure that you follow the proper indentation here. There should be no linting errors in this. Otherwise this would not run. So after reviewing all the tasks that they mentioned in the YAML file to trigger and build and test the ASP.NET projects, click on save and run. Right, so set up this with this, commit directly to the master branch, click on save and run. Okay, so as soon as it will be running, I'm going to click on job to check it. There it will run using the pool instructions that we have mentioned in the YAML file. This is what these are all the tasks, the things that you're running. These are all the tasks that were defined in that build pipeline that we defined as a YAML file to build and test that ASP.NET code and to build a package for it. So this will run. This is looking good so far. And each task from the YAML file is available for a review. So you can note it, review it, and when it will be done, and we're gonna see the task as well. So let me just pause it. Now let's have a look. How is this going? If this is completed or not? Okay, this is done. This seems to be completed. So if I go back here and look for my test, it looks good so far. So now let's add a continuous delivery to the YAML definition. So go to the pipeline and I'm going to click on edit my pipeline here. As soon as it comes up, you see this is my edit pipeline section. So add the configuration lines below after the trigger section to define a build stage. So you see this trigger section, it says master. I'm going to add space and I'm going to add a stage here and I'm going to add a build stage here. So stages. Stages, gonna this, and it would be stage. Stage would be called as build. Then I'm gonna do this, and the jobs would be to build it. So it would be here, here, and here. Why is it stages is an undefined property? So let me fix it. अबे यार. Okay, after doing this, I'm going to add another stage. So I'm going to just copy paste it. I'll just copy paste it, come down, and here I'm going to do this. This will add another stage, and I can check the length. So then it comes under this. Stage would be deploy. Stage would be to deploy, and I can do this. Okay, jobs here would be to also deploy. I'm sorry, I'll do this. Okay, job would build. Then I can mention the pool, because this will also use the build server as well. I'm going to do this name, hosted, same 2017. Come here, and I'm going to mention steps here. I can leave the line as blank. Now I can select the Azure deploy task in the YAML build as well. So if I do Azure App Service deploy, Azure App Service deploy here, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to select my subscription. I'm sorry, pay as you go. I'm going to click on authorize. Okay, it would be web app on Linux, web app on Windows, app service name. This is the one that I created. If remember, we talked about deploying it to a slot or something. You can do it. If you don't want to do it, you cannot. And if you will see the package or folder task here, the YAML that defines the task will be added to the cursor location in the file. So you see this. So I can add a new task here, which would deploy it. So if I can do task, what the task do is your RM web app deployment. So it would be Azure RM web app deployment. The task is number. This is the way the task is structured here. So I'm going to go inputs, and this is the inputs that I am going to do. It would be have connection type. I'm going to give a space. I'm going to do Azure RM. All right, hit enter, and your Azure subscription. Okay, so the one thing that is important to note here is that these two stages will be run independently. Remember, we added the previous video. We added two different stages to deploy into the QA and then into the prod. Here in the YAML definition, I am defining two stages. First stage is to build the web app. Second stage is to deploy the web app. So when this pipeline would be run, these two stages will run independently. As a result, the build output from the first stage will not be available to the second stage without special consideration. So for this, we will use one task to publish the build output at the end of the build stage and another to download in the beginning of the deploy stage. So in the build stage, if you go up, you see that this is the build stage here. So one of the artifacts that would be published from this build stage would not be available directly to the deploy stage. So if I just before where the build deploy task starts here, right, I can hit enter and okay, first of all I can add it. I'm sorry, it would be added here. So first of all, let me add the task. So it was this, was adding the task here. It would be added here, and if you go above and if you would see the build task, and just before the deploy stage here, the deploy stage, if you would search for the published artifact, publish build artifacts here, if you will select this artifact name drop, if you would add it here, this is the thing that comes, right? So just before the deploy task, this things would be, so the package would be available to the deploy task. And then you can place the cursor on the first line under the steps node of the deployment stage. So if you would see here, stage deploy setting, stage deploy, and if you would come here, if you would see the steps, what steps it needs to do in the deployment task, and if you would just keep it here just below it, so it has to download the artifact. So build stage would publish the artifact and deploy stage to run would download the artifact. So download artifact from the file share, or it has to download the build artifact that would be run. So artifact name would be, if you would click add here, these are the tasks that the build artifact would deploy. Artifact name, if you remember, we have to add a download path, and if I can add here the artifact name, it was drop, right? So build the package would be available to me or to this deploy stage as a drop name. Then you can save it, right? Save it with all the tasks. It would do the linting, and then if you would run it, that will deploy my stage to the deploy. So let me see it here. If you would run it, Click on run. Let's see how. Oh, the error is coming for the linting, but you got to know that it will also be deployed onto the stages. First, it will have to go with the build stage, then to the deploy stage. So this is how we defined CI/CD in the Azure DevOps in Azure pipelines using YAML. I hope this was informative to all of you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.